You don't realize how stuck you are until you try to move, and when you do, it feels like you're walking through mud, like everything you try doesn't quite work, like every step you take is met with resistance, and it doesn't make sense because you've been doing all the right things. You've been praying, you've been going to church, you've been trying to live right, and yet something still isn't clicking, something still isn't breaking free. And the hardest part is when you start questioning if you're doing something wrong, or if God has just turned away from you, because it doesn't feel like He's responding. It doesn't feel like the breakthrough is coming. And that confusion is where the first mistake happens, because you start blaming God for your lack of progress, when in reality, He's waiting on you to stop looking at everything outside of yourself and start looking inward. Because spiritual stagnation doesn't start with the world around you. It starts with what you're allowing to stay in you. The first mistake keeping you spiritually stuck is this: you're focusing too much on what's outside of you and not enough on what's inside. You think if you change your circumstances, if you just get that one thing fixed, if you just had that breakthrough at work, that healing in your body, that answer to your prayer, then everything would fall into place. But the truth is, the shift that needs to happen is within. And until you start looking inward, until you start addressing what's happening in your heart, in your mind, in your emotions, you will continue to spin in circles, because the outer circumstances are just a reflection of the internal battles that haven't been dealt with. Until you confront what's happening inside, nothing will truly change outside. And until you face your own struggles with pride, control, bitterness, or unforgiveness, nothing will shift. Because spiritual breakthrough starts with inner transformation, not external change. And that transformation happens when you stop waiting for God to fix everything outside of you and start letting Him fix what's broken in you. The second mistake is this: you're trying to do it all on your own. You believe that if you just work harder, pray harder, strive more, you will get the breakthrough, you'll get the answers, you'll overcome. But the truth is, there are things you cannot do on your own, and you're not supposed to. God didn't design you to do it alone. He designed you to be in community with others, to lean on others when you are weak, and most importantly, to lean on Him. If you keep trying to carry the weight of everything by yourself, you'll never move forward, because you weren't built for that burden. There are areas of your life that you are supposed to surrender, supposed to trust, supposed to rely on God and others for help. But when you're in a cycle of doing everything by your own strength, you're not giving God the space to work, and that space is where transformation happens. The moment you stop trying to control everything and start trusting, the moment you stop striving and start surrendering, is the moment things begin to change. Until you let go of the false belief that you must have control over everything, you will continue to feel stuck, because it is in surrender that you find freedom. It is in trust that you find peace, and it is in reliance on God and community that you break free from your own limitations. The third mistake that keeps you spiritually stuck is you're holding on to things you were meant to let go of. You're carrying around old hurts, old grudges, past disappointments, fears that have no place in your future, and all that weight is weighing you down. And the worst part is you don't even realize it's there until you try to move. It's like carrying a heavy bag on your back and wondering why you're tired all the time. But you never take it off. You never deal with the weight. You just keep moving forward with it. And it's affecting everything you do, even when you don't see it. The truth is, until you let go of that baggage, until you forgive those who have hurt you, until you release the control over things that didn't turn out the way you wanted, you'll never experience the freedom God wants for you. Holding on to the past keeps you tethered to it. It keeps your mind and heart stuck in cycles that no longer serve you. And as long as you hold on to things you were meant to release, you will remain trapped in the past, and it will rob you of the future God has for you. Forgiveness is not just for the other person, It's for you. It's so you can move forward without the chains of bitterness, anger, and resentment holding you back. Let go of what is holding you, and you'll be amazed at how quickly everything else will start moving. The fourth mistake is this. You're living with one foot in both worlds. You're trying to serve God and hold on to the things of this world, and it's draining you because you can't fully move forward if you're constantly looking backward. You can't experience the fullness of God's blessing while trying to keep one hand on things that are keeping you spiritually distracted, and that division doesn't just leave you stuck, it wears you out. You want the peace of following God, but you also want the comfort of the world. You want the joy of knowing your purpose, but you also crave the satisfaction of temporary pleasures that pull you away from it. And every time you make that choice to hold on to something that pulls you in the wrong direction, you cut off the flow of what God wants to do in you, because double-mindedness brings instability. You can't serve two masters, and when you try to, you feel conflicted, uncertain, and eventually exhausted. The decision you have to make is not just in your actions, it's in your heart. Are you fully sold out to the calling of God on your life? Or are you still holding on to things that give you temporary satisfaction, but ultimately lead you away from His purpose for you? The moment you decide to fully surrender, to fully embrace the life God is calling you to, is the moment you start walking into a new season, a season where you are no longer pulled in different directions, but focused on what matters most. Until that happens, you'll continue to feel stuck because your heart is divided, and that division keeps you from fully experiencing what God has for you. The fifth mistake is this. You're letting fear control your decisions. Fear is a silent thief. It doesn't always scream at you, but it whispers, it nudges, it convinces you to hold back, to play it safe, to stay in your comfort zone. And before you know it, fear has shaped every decision you make without you even realizing it. It's not always fear of failure. Sometimes it's fear of what others will think. Fear of stepping out of your comfort zone, fear of the unknown. And what fear does is it keeps you from moving. It paralyzes you. It convinces you that staying in the same place is safer than stepping into what God has planned for you. The problem with this is that safety isn't the same as peace. And peace doesn't come from avoiding challenges. It comes from stepping into God's will, even when it scares you. If you live your life letting fear make your decisions, you'll never experience the fullness of God's plan for you. You'll always be looking over your shoulder, always questioning what's coming next, always wondering if you made the right choice, and fear will steal your confidence, your courage, and your purpose. But the moment you make the decision to step out, to trust God even when it's uncomfortable, you break the power of fear and you start walking in freedom. Until you break free from the grip of fear, you'll remain stuck in a place where you can't move forward, because fear is keeping you exactly where it wants you, paralyzed, uncertain, and afraid to make the next move. And the final mistake that keeps you spiritually stuck is you're waiting for God to do everything for you. You're sitting back, waiting for the breakthrough to happen, without realizing that God is waiting for you to take action, to step out, to move in faith, to make the decision to partner with Him in what He's doing in your life. You want God to open doors, to bring opportunities, to change circumstances, and while He can do all of that, He also calls you to step into it, to act in faith, to trust Him enough to move even when you don't see the full picture. Faith without works is dead, and it's not enough to simply believe that God will do something for you. You have to take steps towards it. You have to move. You have to act on what He's already promised. And that action shows your trust, shows your willingness to follow through on what He has called you to do. If you are waiting for God to do it all, you will remain stuck because you are not participating in the process. God doesn't just want to do something for you, He wants to work with you, and that means taking action, being obedient, stepping out when it's uncomfortable, and trusting that as you move, He will guide you. Until you make that choice, until you take that step, you will continue to feel stuck because you are waiting for something that already requires your movement. And until you act, nothing will change. God is not waiting to do it for you. He's waiting for you to partner with Him. And the moment you do, everything begins to move forward. And if you're waiting for God to do everything for you, then the fourth mistake is this: you're ignoring the small things that matter most. We tend to focus on the big issues, the dreams, the goals, the breakthrough moments, and while those are important, the small things, the everyday decisions, the seemingly insignificant moments are where the real transformation happens. It's easy to think that the big stuff is where God will test you, where He will show up. But in reality, He's watching how you handle the small things, because that is where your heart is shaped, where your faith is built, and where your true character is revealed. You may be praying for something big, but you are neglecting the small things that God is already asking you to do. These are the moments when no one is watching, when it's easy to justify letting something slide, when it seems like it won't matter in the grand scheme of things. But the truth is, those small moments are building something inside you. And when you are faithful with the little things, God can trust you with the big things. Ignoring the small things, thinking they don't matter, is like allowing cracks to form in the foundation of your house. You might not notice them at first, but over time, they cause instability, and eventually, everything starts to shift. When you refuse to address the small things, you are making it harder to build a life that aligns with God's will for you. And those cracks grow, affecting every area of your life, from your relationships to your decisions, to how you approach your goals. The little things, how you spend your time, the words you say, your honesty, your kindness, your attitude, these are what truly determine the course of your spiritual journey. And if you neglect them, nothing else will stay aligned. So when you find yourself waiting for the big breakthrough, look first at what you're doing in the small moments. What do your actions say when no one is watching? Are you being faithful in the things that seem insignificant? God is testing you in those small areas, and He is waiting for you to pass those tests before He brings you to the bigger things you're asking for. And when you neglect the small things, the fifth mistake that keeps you spiritually stuck is this: you're relying on past victories to carry you through today. There's a tendency to look back on what God has done in the past and think that those victories will sustain you in the present. You remember the mountaintop moments, the breakthroughs, the times when God came through in a powerful way, and it's easy to think that those past experiences will keep you spiritually strong, that the fire you had in that season will carry over into the next. But the reality is, spiritual growth doesn't work like that. Just because you had a victory yesterday doesn't mean you're set for today. And just because God spoke to you in a powerful way last year doesn't mean that His voice will carry the same impact today if you're not actively listening. The mistake people make is thinking that past experiences, past moments of clarity, past prayers that were answered are enough to keep them spiritually alive. But the truth is, every day is a new opportunity to grow, to be challenged, to go deeper. And if you are not actively seeking God today, if you are not leaning into Him for fresh direction, you'll begin to stagnate. Past victories are meant to build your faith and encourage you, but they are not meant to replace the need for an ongoing relationship with God. When you live off of yesterday's faith, you miss what God is doing right now. And that's where spiritual stagnation happens. When we stop looking for God's movement today and instead coast on what He did yesterday. And it's easy to get comfortable in that place, to rest on your laurels and think that everything is fine because you've seen Him move in the past. But God is always doing something new, always wanting to lead you deeper, always offering a fresh word for today. When you stop pursuing Him in the present, you start slipping into autopilot, and autopilot will always lead you to a place of stagnation. You can't live off of yesterday's victories because yesterday's victories can't sustain you. They were meant to prepare you for today, to build your faith for what's ahead. But you need a daily relationship with God, a daily pursuit of His will, a fresh reliance on His strength and direction. Otherwise, you'll find yourself stuck, not because you haven't had victory, but because you stopped seeking the new thing He wants to do in your life today. And if relying on past victories keeps you from engaging with God in the present, then the sixth mistake is this: you're letting distractions fill your time instead of focusing on your spiritual growth. In today's world, it's easier than ever to be distracted, to be pulled in every direction by noise, by social media, by entertainment, by responsibilities, and before you know it, the hours slip away, the days slip by, and the very things that would bring you closer to God, the time spent in prayer, in His Word, in reflection, get crowded out, not by something evil, but by everything that just feels urgent. You tell yourself you'll pray later, that you'll read the Bible when you have time, but somehow that time never comes. And days go by without really engaging with God. You can still be busy, but you're not spiritually nourished, you're not spiritually growing. And when your spiritual life is squeezed out by distractions, you begin to feel spiritually dry. You begin to feel stuck, not because you aren't doing anything, but because you're not doing what matters most. Distractions are the easiest trap to fall into because they don't feel wrong, they don't feel sinful, they just feel necessary. And that's how they slowly begin to take more and more of your time. You begin to prioritize everything else, and before long, your relationship with God becomes a background issue rather than the central focus of your life. The danger in this mistake is that you start to accept it as normal. You don't even realize how much time has passed without investing in your spiritual life. And that's how distance creeps in, not because you wanted it, but because something else took its place. And once that gap is formed, it's much harder to bridge because you've spent so much time feeding other areas of your life, areas that don't bring eternal fruit. So if you're honest with yourself, you need to ask, what is consuming my time? What am I allowing to pull me away from spiritual growth? Is there something in my life I need to give up in order to give God the time and focus He deserves? The more you feed distractions, the more you starve your soul, and that spiritual starvation will keep you from moving forward in the ways God intends. And if distractions slowly drain your spiritual energy, then the seventh mistake that keeps you spiritually stuck is you're living on your own strength. You may be going through the motions, doing the right things, trying to serve God with all your effort, but deep down you know you're doing it alone, relying on your own power, your own will, your own energy to push through. And while striving is a natural part of life, this is different. This is when you've stopped depending on God to sustain you, stopped relying on His strength to guide you, and started depending solely on your own abilities to get by. This is when your prayers become mechanical, your worship becomes routine, and your service to others becomes a checklist of tasks instead of an outpouring of love. And here's the thing, you can only do so much on your own. You were never meant to carry everything by yourself, to handle every struggle with your own strength. God never intended for you to rely solely on your own power to accomplish His will, but when you get caught up in the busyness of life, it's easy to forget that His strength is available, that He is the source, and that you don't have to do it all alone. The moment you begin to rely on yourself instead of God, you start running on empty, and eventually, that exhaustion catches up with you. You begin to feel drained, discouraged, and spiritually exhausted. And the worst part is, you don't even realize you're running on fumes until you crash. You don't notice that your spirit is dry until you feel disconnected, until the joy of your salvation fades, until the energy you once had to serve and grow is gone. That's the moment when you need to realize you can't do this on your own. God is not calling you to manage everything by your own strength. He is calling you to depend on Him, to lean into His grace, His power, His love. The key to breaking free from this mistake is surrendering your efforts, giving God the space to move, and letting Him be the one who sustains you. When you stop relying on your own strength, you open yourself up to His supernatural power, and that power will fill you, refresh you, and enable you to move forward with a renewed purpose, a renewed passion, and a renewed connection to His will. And if relying on your own strength drains you, the eighth mistake that keeps you spiritually stuck is you're afraid to step out of your comfort zone. It's easy to remain where you are, to stick to what's familiar, to live within the safe boundaries you've set for yourself. But growth never happens in comfort. Every step you take beyond what feels safe, beyond what feels predictable, beyond what feels controlled, is a step toward spiritual breakthrough. But for many, that step is terrifying. It feels uncertain, it feels risky, and it feels like you might lose control of everything you've carefully built. And in those moments, fear holds you back, convincing you that it's better to stay where you are, to not rock the boat, to not disrupt what's familiar. But here's the hard truth. Faith is never about staying comfortable. Faith is always about taking risks, stepping into the unknown, trusting God with your next move even when you can't see the full picture. And every time you choose comfort over calling, every time you choose the familiar over the unknown, every time you decide to stay in your little bubble, you miss the opportunity for God to stretch you, to grow you, to challenge you, and ultimately to bless you in ways you could never imagine. If you want to move forward spiritually, you must learn to face that fear, to walk through it, not run from it, because it is on the other side of fear that God's greatest work is waiting. Comfort keeps you in the same place, but discomfort leads to growth, to deeper understanding, to new territory. It is the leap of faith, the uncomfortable step into uncertainty that leads to real spiritual movement. Every time you step outside of your comfort zone, you allow God to do something new in you, to reshape you, to build something stronger in your faith. And if you continue to say no to those steps, you keep yourself spiritually stuck, unable to experience what lies beyond the safety of what you've already known. The greatest breakthroughs come not in staying within the lines, but in stepping outside of them and letting God lead you to new horizons.